Let's get started. Welcome to the City of Warman regular meeting of council. It is May 25th, 2020, and I call this meeting to order. Does anyone have any announcements? Okay, hearing none, let's move down to approval of the agenda, please. Councillor Peterson.
I'd like to make the motion to approve the agenda for Monday, May 25th, 2020 as presented.
Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Philipchuk, all in favor? Okay, thank you. Approval of the minutes, please. Motion. Councillor Tooley.
I'll make the motion to approve or to adopt the minutes from the May 11th, 2020 regular meeting of council and the May 19th, 2020 committee of the whole meeting as presented.
A seconder for that? Councillor Philipchuk. Is there any comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Okay, thank you. Moving down to administration reports, we will start with City Manager Smith's report.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have one report for consideration. That's the feasibility of a water well in the city limits. On February 11th, I met with the owner of Rainbow Car Wash, Carlin Enns, regarding his request for permission to drill a well to use the water from his car wash versus utilizing city water, as he feels it would save him significant money by putting a separate system in. He has applied to the Water Security Agency for permission to investigate, as they are the approving authority. However, the Water Security Agency would not approve the investigation until the municipality has provided authorization. Under the Water Security Agency Act, where water is used for non-domestic purposes, such as the car wash, the owner-operator is required to obtain a water rights license and also approval to operate from the agency. In cases where a well is located inside the municipal boundaries, they would first need written authorization from the local municipality. So if allowed, the well would be required to have distinct and separate services than the potable water we provide to the building. So there would be no cross-contamination within our system. The process moving forward, if the city were to provide authorization, would be for Mr. Enns to initiate the licensing process. Specifically, he would make application for a permit to conduct groundwater investigation. This permit allows for a test drilling, well installation and pumping tests, etc. If a suitable water supply is encountered and well is retained for operation, then a subsequent application would be required from the agent from the Water Security Agency. Council may wish to consider providing approval to Mr. Enns to conduct a water well on his, construct a water well on his car wash property at 426 Central Street as a pilot project for this property only. As a pilot project, we would only authorize this one well within the city limits until council is comfortable with the concept, at which time they may look at putting a bylaw in place with the appropriate restrictions. This certainly does not mean that the other industrial type businesses will not want to construct a well in the future, as I'm sure there will be some that may want to do that. However, we believe council may utilize this as a pilot project, and if it has a positive result, it may be worthwhile for others to look towards this as an option. As a cost-saving measure, again, this would be up to council in the future if they wish to authorize a project past the pilot stage. So on February 18th, the item was brought forward to City Council for consideration. And as a result of the discussion, council asked administration to continue investigation and what other communities were doing in regards to the wells and report back. So on May 19th, the report was submitted to council with our findings, which were that almost all municipalities that were contacted do not allow and would not allow a well to be constructed in their community. It should be recognized that based on the information from the other communities, which most don't allow, that it may be prudent to not allow Mr. Enns to establish a well in Warman. However, based on the information from the Water Security Agency and Saskatchewan Health Authority, who advised that there's not legislation prohibiting the establishment of a well, providing the potable water is separate from the processed water, and regulations for operation of a well are in place. I don't believe I have enough evidence to change my recommendation if Mr. Enns is willing to be compliant with all the regulations that would be imposed upon him from all the regulatory bodies. Also, I spoke with Mr. Enns regarding his liability insurance to ensure the water well would be covered under his policy, and he advised that it would be. I also spoke with our city solicitor, who advised that there would be no liability on behalf of the city for a well, as we are only providing approval to allow, not to construct or operate. That would be the owner's responsibility. So I do have a recommendation that we grant the request to Mr. Enns to establish a water well as a pilot project on his property located at 426 Central Street for the purpose of utilizing the well water for a car wash operation only. And further, this approval be subject to all provincial and federal regulatory requirements and insurance coverages. That's my report, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you. So we have a motion. Does someone want to put their name on that? Councillor Philipchuk?
I'd like to make the motion that council approves the request of Mr. Enns to establish a water well as a pilot project on his property located at 426 Central Street for the purpose of utilizing the well water for car wash operations only. Further to that, this approval be subjected to all provincial and federal regulatory requirements and insurance coverage.
Okay, do a seconder. Councillor Beck? And we'll open the floor to discussion. Is there Councillor Peterson?
So normally, in order for sewage costs and wastewater costs, we basically charge based upon the amount of water they use. How would we do that in this case?
So we had contacted Mr. Enns regarding that, and he would have to put a meter system on his well, and his well water that he would be using in the production of his in his car wash, and we would take that that reading and bill him accordingly, just like we would any other commercial use.
Any follow-up there, Councillor Peterson? No. Councillor Philipchuk?
Just a couple points. First of all, I'm glad we spent a fair amount of time with this and looking at, had our questions answered along the way. And we didn't move through with this and make a decision quickly. I know we're a council that likes to look at outside the box and look at other opportunities that are potentially there. So I appreciate Manager Smith's efforts to get all our questions answered. When I first heard about it, I was thinking this cannot work in a city like ours, but the more it's been investigated, the more I'm willing to give this a chance. I'm willing to take a look at this, and as an innovative idea, in some ways, one of our larger water users is looking for another way to bring water to his business. So it makes some sense. And as we look at maybe major businesses coming to our area, there might be other opportunities to use something like this. So I don't mind being a little cutting edge with this. We've done our due diligence. We've done our insurance, seeking out to make sure insurance is covered, so we have zero liability with this. I'm fine moving forward. So thank you for your work with this, City Manager Smith.
Okay,
You're welcome.
Councillor Beck?
Thank you, Mayor Spence. Well, this year, Bob, just going back to something here that you just said. Well, this year, you said that this would be basically like the motion to grant the request put forward by Mr. Enns, but it's not a motion to construct. Would we actually have to pass a motion at a later date, for that construction? And then is that when we would actually have, let's say, the water metering for the wastewater charges, to be applied at that particular time?
No, actually, the way I understand it is Mr. Enns could actually investigate now. It's just that we felt that there's no sense him putting a bunch of effort and getting agreements in place and all that other stuff if it's not going to be approved by council. So we might as well determine that they're allowed in the community, and we can set whatever regulations to that effect. We've already had the discussions with how sewer is going to work. We've had discussions regarding the liability, and then the rest is really on the province and on both health and the Water Security Agency to determine the operation of the well and the construction, etc. But we just felt, he could proceed partway, but there's no sense investigating and put a lot of effort into it if the request was denied. So that's why we're doing the legwork up front.
Excellent. Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? So I should win favor. So that is, let's do that again. I'm sorry. All in favor? And then opposed? Okay, so then it is passed. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Okay, we'll move down to Finance Manager's report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The first item I have tonight on my report is the quarterly financial update. In review of the attached budget documents and giving consideration for seasonal items, administration notes that all departments remain on budget with expectations for this time of year. Administration recommends that the May 31st, 2020 quarterly financial report be adopted at this regular meeting of council.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Who wants to put their name on it? Councillor Jones.
I'll make the motion that the March 31st, 2020 quarterly financial report be adopted as presented.
A seconder? Councillor Beck. Any questions? All in favor? Okay, thank you.
The next item I have is the quarterly capital project update. Administration notes that all capital projects are as expected and there is nothing out of the ordinary. Administration recommends that the March 31st, 2020 capital project budget report be adopted at this regular meeting of council.
Motion, please. Councillor Peterson.
I like to make the motion that the March 31st, 2020 capital project budget report be adopted as presented.
Seconder. Councillor Beck. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Next item.
The next item is the mill rate bylaw. In December of 2019, City Council approved the 2020 budget, which included a 2.9% increase in property taxes to balance the budget. Considering COVID-19 and the potential financial constraints that the City of Warman residents might be facing, Council has directed administration to provide a mill rate that utilizes a 1.5% property tax increase, as opposed to the previously approved 2.9% increase. Administration would recommend a 2020 mill rate of 5.74 to achieve the result of the 1.5 tax increase, as well as continuing to tie the base tax to 65% of the net loss of providing transportation and protective services. The mill rate factors are consistent with the prior year. Administration recommends that the tax bylaw as presented be given the first, second, and third readings at this regular meeting of council.
Okay, so motion for first reading. Councillor Schramm.
I would like to move that the bylaw 2020-04, bylaw to fix levy taxes for 2020, a bylaw to authorize council to impose a tax on all taxable assessments in the city using a mill rate subject to a set mill rate factor, and establish a base tax, as well as to authorize the city to levy and collect taxes on behalf of the Board of Education of the Prairie Spirit School Division number 206 and the Greater Saskatoon Catholic School Division number 20 for the current year be read a first time.
Do we have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Philchuk. Is there any questions? Okay, all in favor? Oh, did we have was there a question, Richard Beck? Councillor Beck, was there a question?
Yeah, yes, I do have a question. So in the motion, do we have to set what the mill rates are? Because with this year, like like it says, using a mill rate subject to a mill rate let's say factor. Do we have to indicate what that is on this motion, or is that just let's say like applied through the through the presentation materials?
Amanda?
I think maybe Dawn would have the answer to that question, but I would say that the mill rate should be noted as well.
Dawn?
Yes, I agree.
So,
Okay.
so that there, so I guess the numbers that we're looking for is that 2.9% property tax?
No.
No, sorry, am I wrong?
I think you would probably want the mill rate and the mill rate factors, as well as the base tax.
Do you have a follow-up, Councillor Beck?
No. No, I was just looking to see if those numbers had to be included in the bylaw there that we do pass. So it sounds like it does sound like we need them.
They are included though, are they not, Amanda?
I'm not sure what Dawn has for the resolution there, but in the recommendation, I do not have them listed. I just refer to the tax bylaw.
They are included in the bylaw themselves.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Has your question been answered, Councillor Beck?
I'm fine, just as long as administration is clear on exactly what that is, and that can be communicated to any media or questions asked by the public.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, all in favor? Okay, thank you. And then a motion for second reading. Councillor Philchuk?
I'd like to make the motion that bylaw 2020-04 be read a second time.
Seconder for that? Councillor Beck? Is there any questions? All in favor? Motion to have third reading. Councillor Toohey?
I'll make the motion that all three readings of bylaw 2020-04, the bylaw to fix levy taxes for 2020, be done at this regular meeting of council.
There's a seconder for that. Councillor Peterson? Any further questions? All in favor? And third and final reading. Councillor Schramm?
I move that the bylaw 2020-4, a bylaw to fix levy tax for 2020, a bylaw to authorize council to impose a tax on all taxable assessments in the city using a mill rate, subject to a set mill rate factor, and establish a base tax, as well as authorize the city to levy and collect taxes on behalf of the Board of Education of Prairie Spirit School Division number 206 and the Greater Saskatoon Catholic School Division number 20 for the current year be read a third time and passed, and that the bylaw 2020-4 be now adopted, sealed, and signed by the mayor and city clerk. I so move.
Okay, seconder for that. Councillor Beck. Any last questions? Okay, all in favor? Thank you. Next item.
The next item is the reserve transfers. Administration is recommending council approve the above reserve transfers at this regular meeting of council, effective December 31st, 2019.
Okay, do we have a motion? Councillor Beck?
Thank you, Mayor Spence. I'd like to make the motion that council authorize the listed transfers to and from reserve accounts effective December 31st, 2019.
Seconder? Councillor Peterson? Is there further discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Next item.
The next item are 2020 approved budget amendments. With the current COVID-19 pandemic, Council has directed administration to amend the budget to reduce the property tax increase to 1.5% and make amendments to the 2020 reserve transfers. Recommends a resolution of Council at this regular meeting of Council to make the following amendments to the approved 2020 budget, which include an amendment to the general government revenue line item, as well as the fire, aquatic, and regional RCMP reserve items.
Motion, please. Councillor Philipchuk. You're on mute.
Thank you. I'd like to make the motion to approve the following amendments to the 2020 budget, 2020 operational budget amendments, general governance revenue, discretionary transfer to reserve amounts changes, fire reserve to $80,000, aquatic reserve to $75,000, and regional RCMP reserve to $80,000.
Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Jones. Is there any further discussion? Councillor Philipchuk.
Just one point I want to mention, it was something that was discussed at the committee of the whole, is by reducing it this amount, this does mean if we get back up to the regular amounts that we would have to go up to 1.5% to get back to normal for 2021. So it's just important to know that moving forward, that we want to keep track of our reserves, and these are important areas for us.
Okay. All in favor? Oh, sorry, just 1 minute. Councillor Beck.
Yeah, thank you. Certainly, just to to reinforce the point there as to what council's thinking on that was certainly with this year, like our fire reserve, our aquatic reserve, and also like the regional RCMP, it certainly moves the goalpost on that. Let's say perhaps a year or two later, but with this year, it certainly saves us from having to to tinker with operations or try and find other things out there. Like there again, just building on the information there provided by Councillor Philipchuk. Thank you.
Okay, anything else to add? Okay, I'm calling the question. All in favor? Okay, thank you. Next item.
The last item I have is postponement of penalties on 2020 tax levy. Council directed administration towards postponing the property tax due date deadline from August 31st to October 31st for the current tax levy to assist City of Warman residents with any financial constraints they might be experiencing due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Administration recommends that the tax penalties bylaw as presented be given the first, second, and third readings at this regular meeting of Council.
Okay, motion please. Councillor Jones.
Make the motion that bylaw 2020-05, a bylaw to amend bylaw 2013-25, the penalty tax bylaw. This amendment postpones the property tax due date deadline from August 31st to October 31st for the current tax levy to assist Warman residents with financial constraints they might be experiencing during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay, seconder for that motion. Councillor Philipchuk. Is there discussion? Any questions? Okay, all in favor? Okay, motion for second reading. Councillor Toohey.
Make the motion that bylaw 2020-05 be read a second time.
Seconder. Councillor Schramm. Any questions? All in favor? Thank you. Motion to have third reading. Councillor Peterson.
I'd like to make the motion that all three readings of bylaw 2020-05 be given at this regular meeting of council.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Schramm. Any questions? All in favor? Third and final reading. Councillor Beck.
That bylaw 2020-05, a bylaw to amend bylaw 2013-25, the tax penalty bylaw. This amendment postpones the property tax due date deadline from August 31st to October 31st for the current tax levy, now to be read a third time and passed, and that bylaw 2020-05 be now adopted, sealed, and signed by mayor and city clerk.
Do we have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Jones. Any final questions? Councillor Tootley? Is he frozen? Councillor Tootley? No?
No questions. My hand was up just to second it.
Okay. Okay, all in favor then? Thank you. Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.
Okay, City Clerk.
Hi, I have no requests today, but I do have a bit of an update. One was on the city photographer. I did have a conversation with him regarding taking drone pictures. I did recommend that for this year, it's probably not our best interest to take pictures of the city due to the cuts we've had with staff and maintenance for the parks due to COVID-19. The more reason that I really needed to present this was the Volunteer Awards Committee has met on May 21st, and we're going to go ahead with recognizing some of the volunteer award winners this year. This is going to be a little time sensitive because we do not want to interfere with grad. So we're going to try to do it within the beginning of June. Mayor Spence will be going out to recognize the winners, and we'll be putting up yard signs so that the community knows that they're the winners. We'll also be doing a social media blitz and a media blitz with local radio and the local paper as well. So mine was just basically an update to let you guys know that what is happening with the volunteer awards this year.
Does anyone have any questions of the City Clerk? Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Recreation Manager.
Good evening, Mayor Spence, members of council. I bring to you 4 items for your consideration tonight. The first of those is the Diamond BMX Club has proposed some improvements to the raceway at Prairie Oasis Park. The Diamond BMX Club has requested to add asphalt to the berms of the raceway. This is typical of many raceways, and what it does, it deletes the need for so much maintenance. The berms are really where the wear and tear happen, and so if they're allowed to asphalt, it cuts down on the hours the volunteers need to be there. It really gives the club a competitive edge that will assist them in securing larger prominent events, and the department has no issues with making these improvements. The recommendation from the department is that City Council authorize administration to approve the request from the Diamond BMX Club and make the raceway improvements by asphalting the berms at their cost.
Do we have a motion for this? Councillor Jones?
Make the motion to authorize administration to approve the request from the Diamond BMX Club to make raceway improvements by asphalting the berms at their cost.
A seconder, please. Councillor Peterson? Is there any questions? Councillor Philchuk?
I guess I'm just looking at a timeline, knowing it's not accessible right now, and sort of how is this all going to play out?
I don't know that at this moment, Gary. I think they were trying to push it ahead as quickly as possible. I think they would like to be able to asphalt the berms fairly quickly so that they could have access to them once some of the regulations have been lifted, and that they can still go after some events in the fall.
Okay.
Any other questions? Councillor Schramm?
Paul, is there any requirement for engineering due to water, maybe erosion with rains and stuff that need to be looked upon with the club itself as they do the work?
No, I think the way the track is set up now is it's probably more engineering friendly for them to do this, and it'll eliminate some of the wear from rain and whatnot on the track. That's what some of this is what they're trying to get away from, is that on the berms is where the water will wash down, cause washout, and then they have to go in and do a lot more maintenance. So This prevents a lot of that from happening. So overall, the track is designed by engineers with the berms and whatnot. So this actually plays in favor for the club.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, call the question. All in favor? Okay, thank you. Next item.
The second item I have tonight is also from the Diamond BMX Club. They have proposed to erect a raceway announcer booth on site. They have supplied drawings and concepts of it. I'm still waiting for a site map to come from them, but it will have to run through building permits and everything else. I think this is a positive addition to the raceway. Once again, it provides the club more opportunities to draw larger events, more prominent events. And the only thing from the department, we'll work directly with them on location, making sure that everything follows up with their building permits. And we'll draw up an agreement for the capital improvements. And we've had those with a number of other community groups, such as Warman Minor Ball, Warman Minor Soccer, and Warman Slow Pitch League.
Okay, someone prepared to make that motion? Councillor Schramm?
Your worship, I would like to make a motion to authorize administration to approve the request from the Diamond BMX Club to construct an announcer booth at the BMX Raceway within Perry Oasis Park as per their submitted plans and with proper permits and agreements.
Okay, do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Peterson? Is there further questions? Okay, all in favor? Okay, thank you. Next item.
Third item tonight is a proposal from Warman Minor Hockey Association in regards to the U19 AAA loan. Warman Minor Hockey Association has requested that the City Council entertain a proposal for a loan in the amount of $42,000 to assist with the startup costs of the U19 AAA franchise to be paid back over 7 years. The Recreation Community Services Department has not provided a startup loan to any other community organizations in the past. The department has made an attempt to provide a facility with reasonable rates, and the department would not be in favor of this request based on historical practices.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so is anyone prepared to make a motion? Councillor Jones?
I'll make the motion to approve the loan request from Minor Hockey Association for the U19 AAA franchise in the amount of $42,000 to be repaid over 7 years.
Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Schramm? And then we'll open the floor for questions and comments. Councillor Jones?
I think, this organization has expressed an interest to come before council as a delegation and talk to both this motion and the second motion, and recognizing that there were some time constraints at our last our committee of the whole. I think it would be in our interest, considering that it is a new organization and that there are benefits it's going to bring to the community, that we allow them to come before as a delegation before we make a decision on these two motions.
Okay, so you'd like to table the motion then?
So my preference would be to table the motion. Yeah.
Okay, is everyone in favor of that? Show of hands. Okay, so then we'll just, City Clerk Johnson, do we just pull the motion?
Yeah, I'll put it as tabled.
Okay. Okay, then next item.
Warman Minor Hockey Association again has put in another request for the U19 AAA ice rental rate change. Warman Minor Hockey Association has requested that the City Council entertain a proposal to change the non-prime rental definition from open till 3 p.m. to be open till 5 p.m. in an attempt to lessen the effects of practice time on the association's other teams, to ensure schooling requirements and lessen financial strain. The change in the rental rate would be necessary to provide all ice rentals within that time range, the same ice rate, not including the ice request from U19 AAA team, This would have an effect on the 109 hours of ice rental rate that happened in 2019-2020 operating season at the Legend Center Arena, resulting in a loss of revenues in the amount of $4,825.
Okay, thank you. So seeing that we have already tabled the prior motion, are we in favor of tabling this one as well? So City Clerk Johnson, do we need to have a motion, or can we just table it?
I think we can just continue on.
Okay. Okay, we're all in favor of that? Okay, thank you.
If I could, I do think you need a motion to table. Sorry, I wasn't on the first one. Did we have a motion to table?
Yes, there was.
Then there should be a motion to table on this item as well.
Okay, Councillor Schramm.
I just move that this request from the Warman Minor Hockey Association to change ice rental rates be tabled at this time.
Seconder, please. Councillor Philipchuk. Is there any further questions about it? Okay, all in favor? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving to motion to accept administration reports. Councillor Peterson.
I'd like to make the motion to accept and file the administration reports as presented for May 25th, 2020.
Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Schramm. All in favor? Okay, moving down to council reports. Mine is in front of you. Does anybody have any questions? FCM has their first female CEO, so who has done an excellent job to date in her other roles for FCM. If there's no questions, I ask for a motion to file, please. Councillor Philipchuk.
I'll make the motion to accept and file the mayor's report as presented for May 25th, 2020.
Seconder, please. Councillor Schramm. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, Council Roundtable, starting with Councillor Beck.
I don't have anything to bring forward at this particular time, so I'm going to pass it along. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Philipchuk.
Just a couple things. I was also at the reconciliation Zoom meeting, and I want to tie it a little bit to, it was good seeing everybody finally again. It was the regional reconciliation group, but also on my own, I've been doing some PD, and one of them was the webinar provided by municipalities of Saskatchewan on respect. And it was really well done. It was actually, it had Sheldon Kennedy as part of the presenter. And so it is a little bit their program that they're doing, but I think it's important it ties together when we're looking at, you know, the calls to reconciliation, or our calls to action, number 57, about educating our employees. That respect really has a lot of good things in there. And I guess I just wanted to share that they went through all the different aspects that are there. It's $20 for 3 years of membership and a lot of self-guided learning that goes along the way to become a city that is certified as respect certified. And I'm only pointing it out there that I know that the municipalities of Saskatchewan will be sending some stuff out on that right after our meeting. They had some of that coming out, but it's just something that I wanted to point out, spending a bit of time with that, because we have respect and support at the schools already that all coaches must take, and just seeing that move through to all employees of the city in the same way, that you just start looking at the small stuff so it doesn't become something big along the way. So I just tying those two together. Besides that, it's been a week of school continues and just chances for a lot of PD that I never would have got before, whether it's reading or webinars.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Peterson.
I don't have anything to bring forward at this time.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Tooley.
Nothing for me to report this evening.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Jones.
Nothing to report.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Schramm.
I have nothing to report at this time, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Peterson?
I forgot there is one thing. The library board has had a couple resignations over the last couple months. So we're gonna have to find a way to begin trying to recruit a couple new members for the board.
And the resignations are from?
Rebecca Mayo
Melo.
and
Paul?
gentleman that was the treasurer.
Rick Hales,
Hales.
sorry, Councilor Peterson. Rick Hales and Rebecca Mallow.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, Councillor Peterson?
Oh, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving down to correspondence. Okay, so we have in front of us a letter. City Manager Smith, are you going to be talking to this?
Sorry about that. Not really much to report other than, this is a good news story for the city. The province, in order to help stimulate the economy this year, they have provided some additional capital funding through the Municipal Economic Enhancement Program. Again, it's for capital projects, and it's to make sure that, that the municipalities, due to COVID and some of the cash flows issues that they may have and some of the lost revenue as a result of closure of things like the recreation facilities. This is to ensure that we keep our capital going. That was what the purpose of the program was. And so we will be putting together some projects to come forward to council for consideration. The application must be in by July 17th. I believe, I'm just trying to read on the screen there, but I believe it's July 17th. So we'll have something coming back for council for consideration as to the project that we think would be best to fit under the program.
Okay, thank you. So we have a motion to file, Councillor Beck.
Sorry, Mayor Spence, I was about to make the motion that the Municipal Economic Enhancement Program 2020 letter and the agreement was received by council on May 25th, 2020.
The seconder for that, Councillor Schramm. Any further discussion? Councillor Beck?
Yeah, just one point to note on that. With this year, it does certainly point out, let's say like the contribution, amount up to $1.583 million. So, like that, that can certainly be utilized by us for the capital projects that we do have scheduled for our city.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Okay, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, City Council for approval. Motion, please. Councillor Schramm.
Your Worship, I would like to move to approve the city accounts as presented by checks number 22947 to 23017 with a total amount of $714,975.46, and the payroll vouchers number 10675 to 10717 in the amount of $70,212.31 for May 25th, 2020. I so move.
Seconder, please. Councillor Peterson. Is there any questions? Okay, all in favor? And a motion to adjourn. Councillor Jones.
Make the motion that the Monday, May 25th, 202nd regular meeting of council be adjourned. 2020 regular meeting of council be adjourned.
Seconder for that? Councillor Toohey. All in favor? We stand adjourned. Thank you, everybody.